Thanks for watching Film Buff. Really, honestly, it's fucking great.
How's it going, guys? Alright, it's time to get into episode 2 of season 3, Attack on Titan. First of all, I need to thank all the amazing patrons. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for the support, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And a reminder to anyone else, if you would like full-length reactions to this, head on over to my Patreon, check it out. Also, you know, there's going to be early access and full length for my next anime, and that's going to be picked from the poll that's going on at the moment. But yeah, you know, I'm coming in fresh from episode 1. This Kenny the Ripper attacked Levi. He knows him, so let's see how this plays out, man. Let's get right into it. Oh.
こっちの動きを完全に読んでたってことか。ケニー、よりによってなぜ奴がケンペに。
Did he raise him? Oh, that animation though.
まだ生きてるとは思わなかったぜ。ケンペを殺しまくったあんたがケンペやってんのか。
ガキには大人の事情なんてわかんねえもんさ。
It's a mercenary, huh?
俺が教えた処世術がこんな形で役に立った。
Oh, okay.
プロのネズミって言葉を俺は教えなかったか。これじゃあおめえがどっから逃げようと上からドカンだぜ。
趣味か。俺の部下の頭を吹っ飛ばしたのもあんたの趣味か。
ああ、大いなる目的のためなら殺しまくりだ。お前だっててめえのために殺すだろう。
ああ。
Oh.
待て。椅子。
Oh.
銃声です。ほら、兵士長からの伝言はこう。これからは巨人だけじゃなく人と戦うことになる。
The game is changing, man. The real enemies are other humans. God damn, I'm loving this track in the background, man. Oh. Mika has no problem, yeah. This is amazing to see Levi, you know, giving them orders. Shun, Shun. No.
エレン・イエーガーとヒストリアの居場所がわからんのでは。
一緒に調査兵団を志した仲だろう。
Ah, is that right,
こ
Niall?
の小さな世界は変わろうとしている。希望か、絶望か。中央は人類の未来を託すに足る存在か否か。選ぶのは誰だ。誰が選ぶ。お前は誰を信じる。
エルヴィン、お前、何をやるつもりだ。
毎度おなじみの博打だ。
Oh. Whoa. Armin killed her. Man, he got taken again.
そうだったんだ。僕が殺した人はきっと優しい人だったんだろうな。
Oh man, Armin.
僕なんかよりずっと人間らしい人だった。僕はすぐに引き金を引けたのに。僕は。
アルミン、お前の手はもう汚れちまったんだ。以前のお前には戻れねえよ。
なぜそんなことを。
新しい自分を受け入れろ。もし今もお前の手が綺麗なまんまだったらな。今ここにジャンはいないだろう。お前が引き金をすぐに引けたのは仲間が殺されそうになっていたからだ。アルミ、お前が手を汚してくれたおかげで俺たちは仲間を一人なくさずに済んだ。ありが
It's
と
a
う。
big moment, man.
リヴァイ兵長、俺は人と戦うなんて間違ってると思ってました。そんなことをいきなりやらせる兵長のことも人に手を下すのが怖かったからです。
Yeah, they're not ready for that just yet.
間違ってたのは俺でした。次は必ず撃ちます。
何が本当に正しいかなんて俺は言ってない。そんなことはわからないからな。お前は本当に間違っていたのか。
エルビー、大変だ。事態が悪化した。それも2つだ。1つはエレンとヒストリアが拉致された。私の部下3人もやられた。私はすぐにリヴァイと合流して行き先を何としても探るつもりだ。
で、もう一つは
エレンがユニオンとベルトル
Oh
ト
my
を
God.
思い出したんだけど、これが事実だとすれば早く救出しないとエレンは食われる。
Got transfer
おい、
the coordinate, right?
リヴァイたちがいるのか。
お待たせ。もう終わってないだろうね。
ああ、俺も慣れてなくて。
サレス、私も人間の拷問は初心者なんだが、よろしく頼むよ。
待て、とにかく目的を言え。何も聞かずに拷問するやつがあるか。
そうだな。聞きたいことはいくつかある。エレンとヒストリアはどこだ。なぜヒストリアを狙う。エイスケとは何だ。
遅い。急ぐんだよ、こっちは。
Oh.
再開か。
今相手にしている敵は僕らを食べようとしてくるから殺すわけじゃない。考え方が違うから。所属が違うってだけかも。それだけで命を。アルミン、
この狭い壁の中でなぜ今まで戦争が起きなかったかわかるか。俺たち第一憲兵がこの汚い手で守ってきたんだよ。下手に利口な教師から空を飛ぼうとしたバカな夫婦も田舎の牧場にいたバイトも全部俺たちが消したから人類はやってこられた。感謝されて当然なんだ。それをお前らほど楽しそうに人を痛めつけるやつは見たことがねえ。バケモンだ。
Man, they showed some
なんかかわいそうになっちゃったね。
Historia's mom, bearded guy from the flashback or in the opening, and Armin's parents. He's done quite a bit.
さあサネス、気を取り直そう。私も辛いけど頑張って拷問する。
レイスケが本当の王家だ。
Oh. So Historia.
人目につきたくねえったのに。商人ってのは信用が売り物じゃなかったのかよ。
Oh.
リヴァイの居場所を聞き出さなくてもよかったんですか。
黙ってても奴は出てくる。
わかるんですか。
俺が育てたからな。リヴァイ・アッカーマンはそういうやつだ。
Yo! Yo, I'm getting teared up.
つまりエレンもヒストリアもロッドレースの元にいる可能性が高い。
こいつだ。
ヒストリア。今まですまなかった。
Man. Okay, holy shit. The ending to that episode just absolutely non-stop, man. Just bombarded me with major information back to back. And then it goes into the end credits. I had to pull myself right back into it, like, really quick. Because the end credits, now see, that's something I was really anticipating. Especially because of, the end credits of season 2. I knew the end credits could be something quite exciting. The amount of stuff they fit into that episode is just crazy, man. I said after episode 1, the pacing, it's clear that there's a different type of pacing going on here. And episode 2, dialed it up another notch. All right, so before I go into detail, my initial thoughts on the ending there. I loved it. I loved it, man. It's a gorgeous piece of animation. The art style and the coloring is reminiscent of season 2's ending. And it also had this fantastic fusion of music. Also it kind of felt like a mix of season 2's opening and ending, mushed together. Now, speaking of season 2's opening, that phrase, Sasageo, that came up again, right? Now, it wasn't exactly the same. This time it was Sasageta, right? Maybe you guys could tell me the difference in the comments. Now, this ending is not quite as cryptic and dense as season 2's ending. I mean, that one was telling a story, man. That was like a history lesson, right? But I did check it out a second time. I paused it, did like a shot by shot, tried my best to extract any useful information out of it. Now, the major focus is Historia. Big time. There's a few other things sprinkled in. But she is the focus, and not only of this ending. It really does after this episode. It really does feel like she is a major focus of this season, or at least this first story arc. So the opening segments felt really similar to season 2's ending. It had like this really clean presentation. The sun's shining down. They didn't really present the Titans as a threat at all, right? But yeah, it really had that really eerie, calm feeling about it. And then there's this great transition. It's like the pigeon. It kind of flies into the wall, right over. And then in the next shot, you see Historia kind of seeing the same pigeon. So I thought it was a great transition. And speaking of pigeons, that's not the first time, right? That's a bit of a running theme in the show, right from the beginning. Right from episode 1. That imagery is present throughout, even No Regrets. It's a pigeon or a dove. Not 100% sure. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that symbolism is there throughout the show. I believe it symbolizes freedom, right? Soaring high above in the sky, nothing to cage you in. No limitations. Explore freely. So yeah, it's a running theme. And the rest of Historia's scenes are all about, being forgotten, right? Chasing the truth, trying to connect, longing for loved ones, right? I kind of equate that shot of her sinking as her descending into darkness, from the light and the truth. Now the next few shots, it's these silhouette shots. The first one is young Historia, and then Eren and Grisha in the forest. I know all about that, right? From those flashbacks, the dream sequence. Does this mean I'm gonna get to see this? Does this mean I'm actually gonna get to see how it all played out? I hope so. And then there's this great shot of Ymir transitioning from a young girl to an adult, right? And reaching out to Historia, a great little sequence. And then it goes into the season 2 type scene, right? Sasagita instead of Sasageo, but it's the same type of feeling. And I believe at this point they're showing the top 10 from the 104th, or they just might be showing the 104th in general. I definitely noticed Mikasa's red scarf. I noticed Annie's hoodie, and right at the end they showed Krista, and of course, in the middle, a bunch of the other people. And then it goes into this amazing operatic styled sequence of Historia running through a field of lilies. I think those are lilies. They showed them in the beginning as well. Now, the first shot of that, the blood drop into the water. I'm a little bit stuck on the meaning of that, or the symbolism. I kind of thought maybe it could mean that, she kind of had to grow up on her own, become a woman on her own. I would love to get your thoughts on that. If anyone has any other takes on it, please let me know. And once again, I see this black-haired lady, man. Now, see, again, in my reaction to the ending there, I called her Historia's mom. I'm like, oh, that's her mom, because that's what it feels like. This guardian figure, someone Historia kind of longs for. But I do think her biological mom is the one from Sanis' story. But again, like I said, this lady feels like someone that is so important to Historia. Surely they'll show me who this is. Come on, they can't tease me like that. They can't show it in the opening and ending and then not show it. So I'm confident that I'll probably get to see this lady at some point. But again, the really interesting thing here is that, yeah, there's no mention of her. Historia does not mention her at all. And like I said, it feels like someone, like a guardian, someone who could be a mom, right? That she does have that feeling about her. Someone who cared for Historia, and means a lot to Historia. And then the gorgeous final shot of grown-up Historia, looking off into the sunset, right? At this ranch. Sun has mentioned this ranch, right? But yeah, gorgeous final shot. It didn't have anything as mind-blowing as season 2's ending, right? But I loved it, man. I thought it was beautiful. Yeah, gorgeous animation, fantastic music, some really cool imagery in there. Okay, so let's backtrack now. Let's go back to those 2 shocking moments. Now, one of them, the first one, the confirmation that indeed Grace is the true royal family. That was an exciting confirmation, but perhaps not as shocking, because I have speculated that perhaps Historia might have some royal bloodline, like a descendant of an important bloodline, and now I get confirmation of that. So it's not as shocking, but it's still exciting that it's confirmed now. That Lord Reyes is the true king, and Historia is the successor to the throne, basically. So that's huge. That's huge. I'm kind of getting actually, okay, again, I have to say spoilers for Game of Thrones. Just skip the next minute or so. Okay? It's a little bit similar to Jon Snow, isn't it? Right? A little bit. Jon Snow, at the beginning of the series, he thought he's this bastard, right? Just nothing. He thought he's nothing. Yet he's everything. In reality, he is everything. He is the true king of the Iron Throne. Historia, she's this illegitimate child. She thought she's nothing, that no one wants her. She's not needed. A lot of parallels. There's a few parallels to Jon Snow here. And at the end of the day, it turns out she is everything. She is of this royal bloodline, a descendant of the king, the successor to the throne. So I think there's a lot of parallels going on there. And I know Isayama is a big fan of Game of Thrones. I've been told this a few times now, so maybe, that kind of played into it. Okay, but this next piece of information, this actually shocked me, man. This, the name drop, Levi Ackerman, and Kenny, Kenny drops this. It was great to actually be caught off guard, because, for a lot of the major things that have happened in the show, by the time it's confirmed, I already kind of know, I've already kind of pieced it together. So by the time I get official confirmation on screen, I'm kind of just, just nodding my head and smiling, because, I've kind of, I've known about it and I've kind of pieced it together. And Kenny confirmed that he raised Levi. He really seems to know him and really seems to understand him, He's so sure that Levi's just going to show up on his own at some point, he's going to come to him. And so, alright, so basically Mikasa and Levi are related. That's a big shocker, right? From her dad's side. And I don't think it's an ass pull, just for the sake of being shocking. There's evidence to support this. Now, there's no chance I would have guessed that they're related, but now that it's been confirmed, you look back at it, it's like, okay, it does make sense, right? They both have this calm, cold demeanor, right? They're both immensely talented, man. I believe I've used the term gifted to describe both of them. In fact, the funny thing is, I think Mikasa's actually used, Levi's technique, that spinning technique, a few times. I've seen her do it at least once, before. And, speaking of immense talent, how about, Kenny? He's the one who raised Levi. He taught him a lot of these things, right? So, does that mean maybe he's also an Ackerman? Because, that could be the reason he, decided to raise Levi, because he's related to Levi. He's like, I have to take care of this kid. If you look at it, there's specific traits really unique to these three characters that kind of connect them. So I think it's really possible that Kenny might also be an Ackerman. Now, this might seem like a silly question, but I'm going to ask it. Does Levi even know his last name is Ackerman? No, I say that because, Mikasa's last name it's been out there since the beginning. So if he knew that this is Mikasa Ackerman, he would have known that they're related a long time ago, right? Unless it's not a big deal at all to him, right? Maybe they're cousins, or maybe it's not that close of a relation, but they are from the same family, from that clan, Ackerman. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. If it's kind of like just for the audience then and there, for now, it's like, hey, look, they're related. And they kind of just leave it there. Or if they're gonna, have Mikasa and Levi kind of find out that they're related. So Kenny's squad, they're not messing around either, man. This is like a highly skilled set of individuals, given a task, and they were equipped for this, man. And they were able to execute this asset collection mission efficiently, right? And that efficiency also came from the fact that they had like a shoot on sight policy, man. I mean, they shot the buzz cut guy. I remember from season 2, episodes like 6 and 7. I remember he popped up on screen for like the first time, and I was like, hey, who's that? And poof, this episode he's gone. You just got headshot. And they came in ready for this situation. Levi even said that they basically predicted every last one of their moves. And speaking of Levi, holy shit, this man is an artist. Like, this is the peak of excellence, man. This is an outlier and, an anomaly. Like I said before, this is a gifted individual, man. This is like part of his build. It's like part of his DNA, man. The creativity, the versatility he shows, with that ODM gear. It's immense, man. Absolutely immense. It's like a part of him, man. He's basically Spider-Man, like legitimately. Dude's out here just like swinging around, and it's so organic, right? It feels so natural to him. It really is a treat, man. It is a treat to see him do his thing, and I noticed that, it's they don't overdo it. They only give us Levi in action every now and then, and I like that, because it really gets you hyped. It really gets you excited. It's like, oh shit, something special is about to go down. Levi is out in the field. That chase sequence, holy shit, that is absolutely just glorious. Much respect to the animators. I know that must have taken a long time, man. And it showed, man. It showed on screen. It was just amazing. Some of the best I've seen in anything. Some of the best animation I've seen in recent memory. Really, amazing stuff. And it was quite exciting and fascinating to see Levi go up against someone that is actually on par with him, on the same level as him, and actually poses a threat. And at the end of the episode, Kenny confirmed that he raised him, and then the question becomes, how much did he learn from Kenny, right? He's probably picked up quite a bit. In fact, Kenny straight up mentions it, that he taught him all these tricks. So, it appears that he's a big part of his childhood, man. There's that one shot of him sitting in a corner, right? All malnourished, and, Kenny shows up. So it feels like, he put him on a path to make something of himself. Now, in the first episode, it was mentioned that, Kenny's known to be this butcher. You know, he butchers the military police. He's killed like 100 of them. And then, of course, you know, the next question is how come he was on this crusade, you know, to go and exterminate as many military police people as possible. You know, the one thing I know is that the majority of the military police is corrupt. Is it possible that they did something to him, or they did something to his family, or, you know, they did him wrong, and now, you know, he made it his like mission to take out as many as possible. And Levi even asked him like straight out, like, how come you're part of the military police now? You basically hate them. His answer, you know, it was cryptic. It was a cryptic answer. He basically said, you know, a kid like you is not going to understand this. But, you know, he also mentioned something about his ultimate goals, and that it's getting further and further from him. So yeah, man, Kenny has become a person of interest really quick. Definitely has my interest, you know, definitely piqued my interest. So more background information, that'd be great. You know, I'd love that. And it's actually fantastic to see someone from Levi's past, someone who's played a major role in his life. You know, one of the major components of this episode is the fact that the rules of engagement have changed, man. Now it's a human versus human conflict. You know, the mission statement for like the scouts and the Levi squad has definitely been altered, man. It's a different landscape out there now. And there are new requirements and new responsibilities coming at the Levi squad in the field, you know, at a moment's notice. You know, there's no time to think about it. There's no time to question the ethics behind it. And that is just something Jean could not manage. And he almost got himself killed, man. In fact, like, I thought he might have been shot. You know, and Levi, you know, made it clear to them. It's like, you know, these people are ready to kill you. You know, they're prepared to kill. So, if you get the chance, don't hesitate. In fact, you know, they even confirmed, like in that mid-episode card, the info card, that their ODM gear is specifically made to counter the Scouts ODM gear. But back to my original point, Jean simply wasn't ready to take that step. You know, he just wasn't ready to take a human life naturally, right? It makes sense. That meant Armin had to jump in and rescue Jean, and he had to take that devastating first step, taking his first human life, man. And as expected, it's a traumatic experience for Armin, an experience that makes him deeply question his morality, his code of ethics, especially because he surprised himself by not even hesitating to shoot her, right? And he questions his humanity and, you know, deems himself a criminal later on. And he thought even the lady that he ended up killing was more human than him because, you know, she hesitated. And yeah, he's kind of beating himself up over it, right? But, you know, it's a major turning point for Armin and, you know, in his life, right? Of course, like, this is such a big moment. He just, you know, he's getting to experience this new side of himself. He's kind of tackling some dark things. But the fact that he didn't hesitate, you know, also goes to show you that he cares deeply about his friends and how far he's able to go to protect them. You know, he shot her at a moment's notice, no hesitation. And Levi even, you know, thanked him for this, you know, for making that call, for making that tough choice. Because if he doesn't do that, Jean's not here, right? And in extension to Armin, the rest of the Levi squad, they had to face the harsh reality, man, that at some point, they're probably gonna have to get blood on their hands. And Armin brought up another interesting point, you know, to the group. You know, before they were killing because there was a definitive risk of being eaten, right, out there against the Titans. But now it's a bit more complicated because now ideologies are at play. And Armin believes that now they're killing because the other people just, you know, they simply have different views in them, right? So, again, everything's a bit more complicated now. Earlier on, Levi himself, you know, told Jean that, you know, even he's not sure if he was right or wrong to order that, you know, to attack the humans. And, you know, that took me right back to the forest of the giant trees in season 1. That moment Eren is, you know, ready to transform. Like, he wants to do it. And Levi straight up tells him, do it. If you think it's the right thing to do, do it. Because I don't know how things are going to turn out, right? So Levi's a realist, man. And I have to say, you know, I really like that Isayama has constructed these major characters in a realistic manner, you know, and he hasn't really toned it down to the proverbial good versus evil. There's a gray area in there. You know, these characters are affected by these choices, and these characters struggle to make these choices. So I like that, I like the realistic tone of this. But at the end of the day, it's a defeat, right, for the Levi squad. It wasn't a good outing, because Eren and Historia got taken again. Eren got taken again, and then Hanji confirmed it to the commander, and also she brought up the note, right, Eren's note, and as expected of Hanji, she put it together. Eren might get eaten. And speaking of the commander, there's this fantastic scene of him and Nile, and it became clear that the commander still sees something in Nile, maybe a glimmer. That makes sense because Nile doesn't really come off as a complete scumbag, compared to some of these corrupt military police guys. He's not that far gone. Like, he does have like a code of ethics. And then he posed a few questions to him. Can we trust his government with the future of humanity? And who gets to decide this, right? And there's a really great shot of him lighting the match, right? And at first, it's just like a flame in the darkness. And I've seen that imagery before in the show. In fact, I saw that exact same, flame in the darkness in Eren's flashback, his dream sequence in episode 2 of season 1. So the commander seems to have something cooking up, man. He's got something in mind, something risky in mind, because, he said, I'm gonna gamble as I always do. So, it's gonna be something a little bit risky, and I'm here for that, man. I think one of the most interesting parts of this episode was the stuff with Sunnis. Some fascinating stuff came out of this torture psychological breakdown of his. First of all, Hanji and Levi resorted to torture, and that put him in the same position as Pastor Nick. And he did come to the realization that, damn, to think it hurt this much. And again, it takes me back to Armin's point about, people just having a different stance, people just belonging to a different group and just following orders, right? Like Sunnis here, who firmly believes in this stuff, he believes it. Like, his cause is the king's peace, and he's fully behind that. He believes in it, and he feels that all of his actions have been justified in the name of this cause, and those actions have been quite substantial. I'll get into that in a bit. He's actually been around, man. Sunnis, he firmly believes that these actions had to be taken to make sure that war doesn't break out, right? But in reality, it's more about keeping people in the dark, keeping people in line, keeping them from the truth, controlling the narrative to avoid revolutions, uprisings. And speaking of curiosity and silencing the people, they showed me 3 major incidents, man. And, these are connected to the characters of the show. So first up, this teacher who was too smart for his own good, apparently, and he got silenced for it, right? Now, I know this is someone really important to Commander Smith. I think it's a good chance this is probably his dad, but also a teacher to him, right? A mentor. So, he got killed for knowing too much. The next one, holy shit, man. Armin's parents. It was established in season 1 that his parents knew all about the outside world, and that they planned on going out there. He told Eren all about this, he showed him the book, but they ended up dying in the process. Now I finally get to see how it happened. Hot air balloon. But, before they could make it out, they got shot down. And third, they showed Historia's biological mom, I think. And, they killed her at some ranch. And the crazy thing is that Historia is present at the moment, and they killed her in front of Historia. So some dark shit, man. But, because of a strategic play, they finally got some major information out of Sunnis. It appears they forced the other guy to read from a script, I think. And, they left the door open so, Sunnis could hear this. And, the betrayal kind of broke him, right? And as it came back in, he just straight out drops it. Race is the true royal family. But yeah, so that means Lord Race is the true king, right? But he chooses to take a backseat, and he's installed this, sit-in decoy King Fritz, who never speaks. He's just in the background. Now, I've been talking about that one shot from the season 2 ending a lot, right? In my discussions, that shot of the king standing over his 3 daughters, who were taking part in this cannibalistic ritual, right? And that shot, that scene from that ending is the main reason I believe that, this is something exclusive to like that royal bloodline, you know. It's something rare. Taking all of that into consideration, let's focus on the current members of this royal bloodline, Lord Race and Historia Race, right? You know, the first question I have is, why does he need her now, right? He abandoned her, but now he's all apologetic. He kind of wants to reconnect, so he needs her for something, right? And he also has Eren, who possesses this rare coordinate ability, right? It's becoming clear now that this ability might have belonged to the royal family, the royal bloodline, that it's theirs. And now he wants it back. So yeah, I think he wants to take it back, and he wants to give it to Historia, right? That's what he needs it for. But that's still strange. Why Historia? You know, she's this illegitimate child that he abandoned all those years ago. But now he wants her to have this, you know? Does he not have other kids? Because if he didn't, I don't think he would have abandoned his only child, right? So he's got to have other kids. But Historia seems to be the one he needs for this. The next concern is that to transfer this coordinate ability from Eren, he has to be eaten by a Titan. The problem is, Historia is not a Titan, yet at least. You know, does he plan on giving her the serum so she turns into a Titan and then ends up eating Eren, right? Or is he planning on taking a different path to that? You know, perhaps the path from the season 2 ending, that cannibalistic ritual. You know, getting a human to consume another human who happens to have the Titan shifting abilities, and the one in this, Eren, has something even more special than that. He has this coordinate ability. I believe Maria, Rose, and Cinna in that season 2 end credits scene, they had to do it as humans, as little girls, man. But all that being said, and all the speculation aside, no chance in hell Historia is going to be down for any of this. If it goes down like that, no chance, man. It's Eren, you know, she's not going to just be down for this. Now, I know Eren's not going to get eaten because, you know, the opening scene of episode 1, that cold open, it shows him, you know, in the future. He's made it out, so, you know, Eren's not going to get eaten. I know that much, but something's going to have to go down. Lord Race is definitely going to attempt something. And his plans include Historia, but I don't think Historia is going to be down for it. Let's see. Now the next point, and I've speculated on this point a few times now. Eren, it's highly likely that Eren got the coordinate from his father. You know, and then the question becomes, how the hell did his dad Grisha have this in the first place? Like, how the hell was he even a Titan in the first place? Like, there's so many questions about Grisha now. Like, my mind was blown, in my discussion for season 2, episode 10, because it became clear that, Grisha used to be a Titan, man, because he shifted his abilities to Eren. I'm pretty confident in that, theory at this point, because there's so much just backing that theory. So much information, so much evidence, right? So who knows how crazy Grisha's backstory is, and how he got into all of this. I think they did a fantastic job of loading a 22 minute episode, with some amazing exposition, man. So much information, useful and crucial information came at me. But yeah, man, I thoroughly enjoyed that. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. Leave your comments. Let me know what you guys thought. A huge thank you to all the amazing patrons. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for sticking around. You guys are absolutely amazing. I'm super happy I can share the full-length reactions. And a reminder to anyone else, if you would like full-length reactions, head on over to my Patreon, check it out. There's no more early access for Attack on Titan, but that's going to return for the next anime. It's going to have early access and full-length. And speaking of the next anime, the poll started, so check that out on Patreon as well. Some of those shows on that list, stuff like Fullmetal Alchemist, and some of the other shows, they've been on my list since my high school days, man, like long time ago. So it'd be fantastic to, get to all of them at some point. But yeah, man, that's about it for this episode. Thanks for checking that out. I'm going to move right into episode 3. in this little marathon I'm doing. So yeah, man, thanks for checking this out. Take it easy.